Hey everybody, Melly here. Just gonna do something here. 1 second. Okay, there we go. So, sorry about that. Just had to share it on my Facebook that I'm live streaming on my YouTube. Wanted to take this opportunity on World Mental Health Day to go live and just kind of contribute to the conversation about mental health. As somebody that struggles with mental health and mental illness, I wanted to try and do my part to keep the conversation going. Now, I've personally had some very varied experiences with mental health. Probably since late childhood, early teen years, especially, and especially in my adult life. Is anything from PTSD from a lot of the trauma that I've experienced in my life, more specifically in my adult life than anything else. But I've also struggled with depression for a good majority of the past few years, past decade plus, I think. And some of the strategies and methods that I've used and utilized to help cope, most of them have been more from my own efforts to try and address and try and cope with a lot of things, because especially if you live in Ontario, Canada, there's some mental health supports, but there's not a lot. There's not enough, I should say. Specifically around PTSD, which I also struggle with. Again, mostly due to the trauma that I've experienced in my life, but some of the strategies that I've utilized to cope with that is journaling, live streaming and talking about things, whether it be on YouTube here or on my other social medias. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Okay, I'm gonna fix that. Hopefully that's better. Hopefully that's not blinding you guys too much. Should probably close the windows. That might help. it's just past 4 or 5 years has really been where most of my mental health struggles have manifested in several different ways. Trauma of leaving a long-term relationship after being subjected to some not so nice behaviors and abuse. It's definitely been, I think that was like, and I don't mean to minimize it, but like in the 5 years that's 4 years pretty much, that's the 4 years that's followed that, some of the experiences I've had through my journey of homelessness and precarious housing, that's certainly given me a whole different set of trauma and a whole different set of PTSD. And some of the strategies and coping mechanisms that I've utilized, some were not so healthy, some are, and some have certainly not helped the situation get any better, but some of them have. In the midst of everything, I wasn't always able to access mental health support, so I really kind of had to find different ways to cope on my own without much assistance from other people. My friends have definitely been one of the main supports over the past number of years amidst that journey. And like I said, journaling and just talking about it and journaling about it, talking about it. I didn't really talk about it publicly too much because it was a lot of my life the past 4 years has been needed to be, kind of behind the scenes and out of the public forum. Other than my social medias, which are, set to friends only anyways. So, I don't know. I'm just trying to articulate what I want to say in as effective a way as possible without coming across as any sort of way. I think, well, I guess I could talk about some of the experiences that led me to be struggling and dealing with mental health and mental illness. I mean, I could probably go as far back as when I was a child and I was molested by a babysitter at age 5. That certainly was, I think it was traumatic later once I realized, like at the time, I didn't know what that was. Like, I didn't know what molestation was. I didn't know, like, we didn't have like, I'm 5 years old. Like, I was 5 years old. Like, I didn't know a lot of the, like, I didn't, like, because I didn't know that what was happening was wrong, I kind of like, it almost felt like, oh, this is, normal part of life. It wasn't until much later when I realized that it wasn't normal, that a lot of the feelings that I had towards it started to manifest. And they didn't start manifesting probably until my adult years. it very much impacted my view on intimacy and sex and all that fun stuff. I say fun stuff sarcastically. Please don't misunderstand that. But it definitely altered my view of it. It altered my understanding of it. It altered my um, it very much skewed my view of it. Because once the traumatic feelings and the PTSD feelings about that experience started to manifest, it just kind of numbed me, um, to the point where like I just didn't care anymore. And I saw a lot of that manifestation prior to and after I found out later in my life that the person that had committed that act towards me had died. Um, but even still, like even now, it's like, and it really skews like my approach to being intimate with somebody. Sometimes I mean, it doesn't all the time, which is weird because like some people that I've, gone on to be intimate with, like it's just been, it hasn't impacted it, whereas some it really has, and it's really weird. Um, I don't understand why it only seems to rear its ugly head, as I say, in certain situations and not others when it comes to sex and physical intimacy and that and all that jazz. Um, I mean, it got and it skewed some of the coping mechanisms that I've had for a lot of the things that I've dealt with over the past 20 years. Um, like there was a point in my life, and I've been open about this, and I've been honest about this, that I was safely promiscuous in my early 20s, I think, like late teens, early 20s. Um, and that was more of a coping mechanism for all the other stuff that was going on. But like it was one of those, like that was when those traumatic feelings and everything didn't manifest themselves. Like I was numb to them. Um, and it just they didn't, factor in at all. Um, which is weird because like I've since ended that coping mechanism. Um, but like it's still very present sometimes, like those traumatic feelings and those um I don't like being numb to it anymore. Like if I'm going to be physically intimate with somebody, I don't want to be numb to it cuz like it just, if you're numb you don't enjoy it near as much, right? So it's like um I don't know, it's just it's weird and complicated and like complex to explain, but like when something that traumatic happens to you in that kind of physical, intimate way at such a young age, I think that it rightfully so does skew and really mess up that thing for you going forward. And that's why I said it's so weird when, like, even now when I go to be physically intimate with somebody, sometimes those feelings just cloud my head, to the point where like it just kills any kind of kills any kind of desire, um, which really sucks when it's somebody that like I desire like otherwise, like somebody I strongly desire, and then like when it's about to happen, like those feelings come back and just my brain just, yeah. um so that's been that's been an interesting journey by itself. um trying to find ways to like not really numb those feelings, but like um kind of not like not avoid them and not numb them, but like just keep them kind of at bay. Time and place kind of thing. That's been a real struggle for me, even recently, and it messed with me, and it still does, because like um, one of the things that having that kind of thing happen to you at such a young age, it really impacts your trust with people in that physical aspect. Um, it really messes up your trust for like any aspect, but especially that one. And it's even more weird when like I trust the person that I want to be intimate with, like, enough to do that, and I trust them across like all aspects. And so when those feelings like come back and show the rear the ugly head, it's like like I've done everything, like I've taken the time to like learn to trust people, and you know it's complicated. It's very complex, that's for sure. Um, like and it messes up things for me and other people. Like it messes with friendships and relationships so much. Like when that kind of thing happens, like when I trust somebody enough to be in a relationship with them, or even just trust them enough to, you know, be kind of in a what I like to call a situationship, but like a friends with benefits situation. Like there, it's so weird because like I don't get intimate with anybody I don't trust in that, and it takes me a long time to trust somebody like that. Um, Obviously because of what I've gone through when I was young, so um, definitely impacts it. But like when I've gotten to know somebody for like, and I obviously trust them enough to like even, entertain the thought of being intimate with them. And then like when we're about to be intimate and those thoughts just like out of nowhere, like there's people that like I trust with my life. And I honestly mean that. Like there's people that I would trust with my life that if my life were to end, I would trust them with it. Like they would probably do everything they can to avoid my life ending if circumstances called for it. Um, and so, like, you would think that those kind of like traumatic feelings from what happened when I was 5 years old would not be a thing, but apparently they are. And sorry, 1 second, guys. Okay, so sorry, just spam. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. But no, it's just, and that's the thing about mental health, right? Like some of the ways that it manifests itself. Yes, I know my Chromebook's using my stupid Chromebook. But that's the thing about mental health is that like it's so unpredictable at times, and like you could have like the best conditions going on where like you would think and you would plan for like, oh well, I'm going to ensure by taking certain steps that my PTSD or my trauma doesn't impact this certain scenario. But as you guys have heard, it manifests itself in some weird ways sometimes. Like you could do everything in your power to like accommodate for even the possibility of those feelings coming or those feelings manifesting themselves, and knowing the triggers for them, and go out of your way and do everything in your power to like ensure that there's no triggers there so that you can, be normal. And then it just won't work because ta-da. And that really messes things up. Because not only does it, like for me, I overthink things a lot. So like, and especially after the past 4 years or so, I get overwhelmed quite easily when it comes to emotions and mental stuff. So, it's like and that's the thing, like I use so many coping strategies and so many coping methods to try and prevent. Oh, it's just my phone telling me to drink water. But like I do everything to try and, alleviate any kind of chance of a trigger. Especially when it comes to being intimate with somebody because of the traumatic experiences I've been through in my life. So when I literally, I will take the time needed to trust somebody. I will take the time needed to put some of the triggers to rest as best as I can. And just about to be intimate with somebody, and suddenly I get triggered somehow, without even anything happening. It just triggers and it's done. And like I said early on in this live stream, I don't like numbing. I want to be able to enjoy it, after having so many traumatic things in that aspect of my life happen to me. I want to be able to enjoy it. I don't want to have to numb it every single time, or numb myself every single time. It's just, it's so frustrating. Especially when it's somebody that you trust. And for me, trust is a big thing. It takes me a lot to trust somebody. There's people that I've known for years that I trust in that way, and it's never triggered in that circumstance. But there's also people that I've known for years that I trust in that way, that it does somehow get triggered. And so it's very difficult. And as much as I trust these people, it's very hard to talk, because I don't want to blame my PTSD and my trauma and whatever. I don't want it to be I don't want it to be an excuse. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be oh, well, it's my PTSD and trauma was triggered, because there was no reason for it to be triggered. So I kind of try and downplay it, like, oh, I just got out of my head, got overwhelmed, which is true. But like the reason behind why I got overwhelmed and stuff is not so clear. And I really can't explain that to people because I don't even understand it. So if I don't understand it, I don't expect anybody else to. So I just kind of like, yeah, like, and I feel so terrible because like of all people for it to happen around people that I trust, that I actually trust. Like if it was a random stranger, then yeah, I would expect it to be to be triggered and like I would not feel bad about it. But like I feel bad when it's people that I actually do trust that have taken the time and energy to, trust me, and I've taken the same to trust them. So it's just like it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. So and it's times like that where like I kind of miss being numb to it, but like I said earlier, like I don't enjoy it if I'm numb to it, eh, eh, like even back in my 20s when I was like safely promiscuous, I didn't like I enjoyed it, but not to the point or not to the level that I probably would have if I wasn't numb. You know what I mean? Like I just it's so frustrating. And it's frustrating for the other person too. Like the person that because then I'm like I'm having to like apologize, I'm having to like make it up to them, and like I'm having to face like claims of like, oh well, you talked a big game. I'm like, well, I was like wanting to really badly, but oh, it's super frustrating. So that's one aspect of like how mental health impacts my day-to-day life. Um, and even just being able to trust people is a lot for me, and it takes a longer time than I think people that haven't had the traumatic experiences that I have. It would probably take them less time to trust somebody to the level that it takes me. Um, like it's and like when it's all like it's very complex, and I think I'm a very complex case. Um, like you guys see that I'm like open and public about things, but like there's a lot of things that I don't talk about publicly that I deal with publicly that I have experienced privately that I don't speak about publicly. Um, and it's not because like I'm ashamed of it. It's just like I don't want to give it power. I don't want to give that experience power to continue to have an impact on me until I've been able to properly process it, and then I can probably speak about it. But even then, it's just like I pick and choose what I share publicly and what I don't. But the things I don't share publicly or don't mean I'm any less of a real person. Like what you see is what you get with me, guys. Like it's been throughout the history of my entire YouTube channel. Like it's literally what you see is what you get. Like I like to have fun. I like to talk about serious issues sometimes. And I like to share a lot, but there's still like, and I think especially after what's happened in the past 4 years in my life, like I value my privacy a little bit more than I used to. I'm still going to share a lot of things openly. And if you're friends with me on my social medias, you will see that because I have my settings set to only friends, and I constantly go through my social medias and like people I don't want seeing or don't want on my friends list anymore. Like I do regular purges of my social medias. Um, just because especially after the past 4 years, I'm like my trust in people has really been impacted. Um, and some of the other things that like the past 4 years has brought me is really distrust for people. I'm definitely suffering from um, narcissist survival syndrome. Um, just because a lot of my partners in my life have been narcissists. Um, for the longest time, I seem to really attract narcissists, and I'm doing my best to not anymore. Um, but like I think um, that's part of the reason why like I'm kind of glad what's happened the past 4 years happened, because it's really helped me see that like yeah, I could be trusting of people, but like there needs to be, you know, levels, layers. So like onions have layers. Ogres have layers. um, but no, like just yeah, it's just especially in the past 4 years, it's really become clear to me that like there's a lot of trauma that I still have yet to work through. Um, a lot of that trauma comes from the past 4 years, so I'm going to be processing that for the next long while, likely. There's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be working through, and in the position that I'm in now, I have access to some, but not all, the mental health supports I'll probably need. A lot of the mental health supports I'll probably need are more long term, whereas there isn't much availability for that. Most of the supports available are very short term, um, and you have to meet specific criteria, which sometimes I don't. Um, but like, it's just it's so frustrating. Um, like I've been witness to some pretty traumatic things the past 4 years, past 20 years plus. That a lot of things that I won't share publicly here. Um, I may go into them in my YouTube series because the environments that I've been in the past 4 years have really been where most of these experiences have happened. But even then, it'll be limited details. I think the things that I've experienced, the details that um, need to be discussed will be discussed when and if I'm able to find the appropriate supports mental health wise, such as long-term, intensive therapy, all that, all that fun stuff. But I've definitely got some PTSD and trauma from abuse, which has manifested itself in some very, very not so fun ways over the years. And probably will still going forward, as much as I'm working on those and trying to do better and cope better and, be better overall. Yeah. But like that, when you've experienced trauma and it impacts your level of trust and your ability to trust as quickly as other people might, or even you used to, that can take a real toll on friendships, relationships, any variety of things, which just makes the whole physical intimacy part even more difficult, because like I said earlier, the investment of time and effort to like trust the other person and for them to trust me, and then to have these traumatizing feelings and this, and just come back with a vengeance out of absolutely nowhere, for absolutely, from what I can understand, no real reason, because I've done everything to avoid those being triggered. It really takes a toll. Takes a toll on me. It takes a toll on the other person. It takes a toll on our friendship / or relationship. And I've seen that in the form of like short-term relationships over the past number of years. Or even long-term relationships, like that's played a role. Like after leaving my ex in 2021, was like a year or so after that I got into a relationship with somebody else, completely organically and naturally. Like it wasn't like an intention, like a seek out a relationship kind of thing. It just kind of blossomed organically. And that had its own complications, because we weren't in our own place. We were, renting rooms from people and sharing accommodations. So I was very, very, as much as I desired my partner, and they obviously desired me, I just couldn't be intimate with them because for a whole different slew of reasons other than my PTSD and trauma from being molested at 5. But like, I couldn't be intimate with them because I didn't feel comfortable because we weren't in our own place. And I tried testing that because like one time we were intimate, and then like the next day I had what I call buyer's remorse. Not that it was bad at all, but like it really cemented the fact that I was not comfortable. Like I risked like I took the risk of like trying to really test to see if I really did feel uncomfortable or if it was just a coping mechanism or what it was. But like the next day it was like, nope, I really didn't feel comfortable. And yeah, so that impacted our relationship because they thought, since I had done it once, I was going to do it again. And even when I told them like, no, I can't, like, I really was just testing myself to see if like, it was just me being, overthinking, or like if it was legitimate. And sure enough, it was legitimate. And I shared that with them, and that definitely took a toll on our relationship. I wasn't coerced into testing that. It was a decision I made on my own. So I want that very clear. Just because I don't want it misconstrued as, oh, they coerced you. No, they didn't coerce me. It was 100% consensual. It was 100% like something I wanted to do because I wanted to see, for myself more than anything, if it was legitimate or if it was just me, overthinking and overanalyzing. But turns out it wasn't. So that impacted my relationship with them. So like I said, it's just very, very complex, very complicated. And I made it clear. I'm like, look, until we're in our own place, I'm not going to feel comfortable. I'm not going to feel comfortable being intimate with you or anybody in a space that isn't ours or even theirs, and I think that's just been a thing that has just been me for as long as I can remember. But especially in the precarious situation we found ourselves in at that point in time. I was just like, yeah, I can't do this. I can't. Like, I tried, and yeah, it was fun. It was enjoyable, but like, I can't do it again. And they had some resentment towards me because of that, because they seem to have thought, oh, well, you've done it once, you could do it again. No, I'm not going to get to, like, I'm not going to be able to do it again, because that was like me trying to see for myself, okay, can I do this? Or is this just, you know, and the fact that we weren't able to get into our own place in the time following, meant that we weren't able to be intimate again, which took a toll on our relationship, I'm sure. Um, and yeah, so, but I think I think being in that relationship also changed my view on relationships, as a whole. Not not them per se, but like it changed like my experience in that relationship definitely changed how I view relationships. Um, Not due to anything that they did or didn't do or this, that, or the other. I want that clear. Um, it was just like it really made me like sit back and think about like what is the point of being in a relationship? Like, you love somebody, you care about somebody, and you want to be intimate with them. You can get that same thing from a friends with benefits situation, an exclusive friends with benefits situation. You can get that same thing from a casual sexual relationship with somebody. Like, you literally can do that. You can literally get that. And especially one that's exclusive, because then it's just like, okay, because then you don't have to say, oh, well, we're in a relationship. No, we're just, friends with benefits. Or as I would like to call it, best friends with benefits, because then like it's not just another like situationship. It's not just another friends with benefits situation or like a casual thing. It's like you have the casual thing, but you also have, a lot of care for that person, a lot of love for that person, a lot of trust for that person. And it's just like, why? Like, you can be an exclusive friends with benefits with somebody and get the same thing than you do in a regular relationship. Like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of being married to somebody, or like, because then, and I think this has been due to my experiences in relationships, but like, if you're in a exclusive friends with benefits situation, there's still the understanding that at any point in time, one or the other person can kind of step away. Of course, communication is a big thing with that, of course, but like, it's not like where if you're in a relationship with somebody and like it's a breakup, it's just like, okay, well, I'm just going to start, seeing other people, because then it's not as devastating, because you're not in an actual relationship or you're not actually married to the person. It's just like, hey, we had our fun. All right. Not feeling it anymore. Cool. A lot less complicated. And I think that is due to having had such ridiculous experiences in relationships. Because I'm one of those people, like, when I have learned to trust you, and I've taken the time to trust you, and I've taken the time to like care about you, love you, like, I see a lot of my friends like my family. Like, my friends are my family. Like, if somebody messes with them, it's like messing with my family. Like, you don't do that. Like, because I will go to, like, I am fiercely defensive of my friends. So like people could be like, oh, blah, 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 and I will like go to bat for them. Like if somebody talked crap about like talk shit about my friends behind their back, I will be the first to confront that person, be like, what the like. But like I'm also like I have a very big heart for people. I've always had that, and I'm very surprised that all the crap that I've gone through in my life has not impacted that nearly to the level that really it probably would have other people. But I'm still able to see the good in even like the worst people. Of course, I don't associate with them, but like I'm still able to see like, yeah, okay, like we've just out, I just need to go a different path. Um, but like I'm one of those people that like I have a heart for people. I love people. Um, and once like I have a friendship with somebody, like that's important to me. Friendships are important to me. And like I love my friends, like I love my family, you know. Um like they're my family. So like when I say, "Oh, I love you," and people get it like if I say I love you to one of my male friends, people get it so misconstrued all the time. I'm like, "No, we're not in a relationship. I don't love them like in relationship wise. I love them platonically. Like they're my brother. Like I shouldn't say that because that just makes some of the friends with benefit situations really awkward. But no, I love them platonically. Like they're my friend. Like they're not my partner. They're not like I'm not in a relationship with them. They're not in a relationship with me. We're not in a relationship. But like when I say I love you to a friend of any kind of opposite gender or even like a different gender, people are like, oh well, they must be no. That's just the way I am. But like I don't say I love you to all my friends. Like and like ones that have earned that like that's a privilege itself, me saying I love you. Like that's a privilege by itself because I've been burned so many times even by friends for like I said trusting them way sooner than I should have. Um like I'll still say like casually I love you to all my friends because I love all my friends regardless, but like there's a there's like a passive love and then there's like an aggressive love that like I have for my friends once they've, you know, earned that privilege and they just earn that by just being themselves, by being my friend and just being there. Um and it takes me a long time to trust somebody enough to say like I love you in more than just a passive way. Um, and again, that goes back to the trauma and PTSD and needing to take time to trust people, probably more time than most people would probably appreciate or would need. But um, yeah. um, yeah. So that's one of the ways that I try and cope with a lot of the PTSD and trauma of like relationships past and just past experiences is that I take time and I establish boundaries. Boundaries are so important, not only for like your relationships and friendships with other people, but like for yourself. Like setting good boundaries for yourself is a good way of coping with trauma, PTSD, and your mental health struggles. Like setting boundaries, like even the lightest of boundaries. If you've experienced like a lot of trauma at the hands of like abusive partners, then like your boundary should be like, you know what, my boundary is you don't talk to me abusively, you don't act toward me abusively, and you don't do anything to abuse my trust or violate me in any way. Those are healthy boundaries because that will likely end up with one of two things. Either the people that don't intend on honoring your boundaries will violate them and then you just cut them out of your life, or people will actually respect them and it'll actually benefit your friendship and relationship with them. Um, I myself have struggled with establishing and maintaining boundaries. Um, More recently, I've become a lot more aware of the boundaries that I need to set with people. Um, and what I share publicly is definitely a boundary. Like, there's, I wouldn't say there's two sides of me. Like, there's a public side and a private side, but there's also like I'm still the same person both. It just like if it's public, not a lot, like there's a lot of information is going to be shared from me, but like a lot of it will not, and that'll be more for the private, like texting and messaging, like social messaging and whatever. Um, but like, yeah, it's just like I've learned how important boundaries are. Due to some of the experiences that I've had in the past 4 years, in the past 20 plus years. But yeah. Um, Now, some of the other, trying to see where I can take this. It's almost been an hour, so I don't want to be too long on here. Um, Especially since it's like 2:30 in the afternoon. Everybody's probably still at work. I don't think I'll ever get to the point where I want to get married again. Um, I was engaged to my long-term partner of 10 years, and that just, yeah, it taught me a lot that, yeah, I'm good with just me. Like, um, and that was only reinforced by my most recent relationship that broke down and ended. Um, I realized that like I'm a lot to put up with. Like I realized this years ago, but like it's really reinforced that I'm a lot to put up with. Um, I have a lot of flaws. I'm built of flaws. Um, and even if I don't mean to, or if they don't see it that way, I feel like a burden on people because of how difficult it is to be with me. Um, like even my friends, like I'm so grateful for them because I've been a real not good friend the past 4 years, and I recognize that. Um, and I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, please stay in my life. I don't like. I understand. If you don't want to be in my life anymore, cool. I've gotten to a point where I'm just like, all right, well, there's people that I don't want in my life anymore that I've said, I don't want to I don't want to be your friend anymore. So like it's a mutual respect kind of thing, like I'm only wanting to put effort into people that are going to put effort into me, and that makes me very selective on friends. That makes me very selective on who I'm actually going to devote the time to. Like I have a lot of friends, but like I have a very very small circle of like close friends that I could probably count on maybe two hands, if not less. Um and I think that's one thing that that trauma has taught me is that I need to keep my circle small. And I need to really not really tone down myself, but like be more intentional in my friendships and in the way in the way I am. Um, yeah. I just Like I used to have a lot of friends that I would, see all the time and like, you know, make time for all the time. But like past 4 years has just been really difficult to maintain even like the most simple of friendships. But I think by keeping my circle small, it also helps me to learn to trust a little bit easier. And maybe it'll get to the point where I don't need to take as much time as I do. But I think it'll be a thing for the next while at least, is that I take time to trust people, because obviously I've been burned by trusting people too soon, too much too soon. Um, yeah, I don't think I could ever get to the point where I almost marry somebody again. Like it would take a lot to get to that point. Um, because like in the past 4 years, I've really realized that I really love my independence, and being tied down to somebody kind of takes away that, like to a certain extent. Like it's not like being in a relationship like they control your every move or whatever, but like it's kind of nice like only having me to think about for once. Um because that's another thing, when I care about somebody, like I think of them before anything else. Um and that's burned me more than enough times. Um and I think that I just need to enjoy my own time for the next while. I'm not saying that like I'll never be in a relationship ever again, because like I'm not gonna say never. I'm a very big believer in never say never. Um I'm a very big believer in manifestation too. um yeah. It's almost been an hour. I only planned on doing an hour, so like I'm never gonna say no to being in a relationship, but it's gonna take me a lot to get to that point. And by a lot I mean probably years. Um I don't think anybody that's in my life right now that I'm just starting to be friends with, that, either the attraction is one way or mutual, I don't think they're going to change my mind. Um, and I don't want them to try either. Um, I'm a very big believer in things happen for a reason, like organically, and that they shouldn't be forced or pushed or whatever. But like, I don't think, like, for right now, I don't think I could be in a relationship for quite a while. Um, Not to say that there's not people that come to mind that I'm like, hey, if it were to happen with this person, cool. But some of that is I don't know. I don't want to put it out in the universe either, because like then see, I'm a very big believer in manifestation, which is why I'm very careful with what I put out in the universe. Um, um, but I think it's just like not even wishful thinking; it's just playful thinking. Like, oh yeah, that'd be kind of nice. But it's really funny because like most of the people that come to mind, we've already had that conversation where like they're in the same boat I am. They're like, yeah, no. So just take it as it comes. And that's why I said, I'm like, if anything, like if I don't get in a relationship ever again, um, even if it's like an exclusive friends with benefits, that's still going to take a lot to get to on both sides. Um, but that still leaves autonomy for both people. The other person is really second or third in priority list. It's not like their number one priority. Um, which, given how busy everybody is, like that works. Like, and then you still have your separate lives, separate finances, separate everything. That way, there's no power imbalance. There's no like um, there's no inequality in any way, shape, or form where like one person's making more than the other, and then there's like that. Yeah, I've been through that. It's not fun. But yeah, so anyways, guys, that is my stream for this World Mental Health Day. I said this on my social medias, and I'm going to say this here. Today, reach out to your friends, people that you haven't talked to in a week, in a couple days, in a month, in 6 months, in 4 months, people that live far away, people that live close. Like, just reach out to your friends. And if you haven't seen somebody in forever, try and make plans. Try. Because especially on days like this, you never know how much just even a word of saying, hey, how are you, could mean to somebody. And it could literally be life or death for a lot of people that are probably isolated and feeling alone on days like today. So yeah, reach out to your friends, let them know that you care, and try and have a good day, guys. And if today's a really bad day for you, tomorrow's a new day. Please keep going. It's difficult. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm not going to say, I know what everybody's going through, but tomorrow's another day. Reach out to somebody. Reach out to me if you need to. I'm here. So just take care of yourself today. Today is a very, very good day for self-care, and just take care of yourself today. And get some rest and talk to people that you trust, talk to people that you care about, that care about you, and just keep going.